Coach, you've had the chance to watch game film from a wild night at the Coliseum. Anything new stand out?
So many significant plays in the game. Was really proud of our effort, battling back. Roller coaster game, had a chance at a point there to kind of move it to a blowout, with a lead, and gave up the kickoff return for the touchdown with a bunch of missed tackles on it. But really, probably the most, just our effort of significant plays, especially on special teams.
You surprised everyone by starting Dylan Baxter. Maybe he didn't have the explosive plays that you were looking for, but were you impressed with his ball security and consistency? I don't think he had many negative carries.
No, he didn't have any negative carries. He was consistent, and unfortunately the stats don't show it. We get a holding on a 30-yard run that he has where he makes a safety miss, a really good run by him. That really knocks that out and really changes his average per carry. But for a first start, he was consistent and most importantly didn't turn the ball over.
Changes defensively too. Let's get into some of those. Marshall Jones didn't start, but he played more, had a couple passes defended. Did he provide a little bit of a spark?
Yeah, he did. He did some good things, and Marshall has done well the last 3 games. Whenever we put him in there, he's been consistent and he's tackled well. So we look for him to continue to improve.
The starting lineup technically changed for the linebackers, but it seemed like it was more of a rotation than usual. What's the plan at that spot?
Well, we played a lot. We played a ton of nickel in the game, which is 5 DBs and 2 linebackers. And we started Chris Gallipo at middle linebacker, and we started Malcolm Smith at will. And what we did is throughout the game we rotated Devon Kennard at Mike and Mike Morgan at will. And so those guys, instead of having to play the whole game, got to rotate and got some rest. And I think it showed because I think we were fresher in the 4th quarter than normal.
Is that a specific game plan for ASU, or is this a new idea to try and work more nickel packages to save some of their legs?
No, that's not really to save their legs. Really more predicated on who we play and what they do on offense.
You were awfully critical of the offensive line last week. You made a change there in Michael Reardon. Did he help shore up that core?
Yeah, he played really well. He actually graded out the best of all of our offensive linemen, so that was great to see a guy respond. It's one thing to get an opportunity. It's another thing when you get it to do something with it, and so that was really good to see.
I believe you lead the nation in successful two-point conversions and unsuccessful two-point conversions. Do you feel a little vindicated, though? That was such a big play, that two-point conversion, after all the early criticism and people not really understanding what you were doing there.
Yeah, I didn't know that stat, so I don't know. I thought that at that point of the game, it was a critical time that we could make it, where they would have to go for 2 down the road, and in such a crazy game, ended up being the difference of the game.
Are you more worried about Joe Houston going forward, or impressed by his courage coming back after missing the first 2 kicks?
Well, he made the last one, so that's the last one that he's had a chance to do. So it was good to see, but obviously we need to be more consistent. As you look at kickers, the good thing to look at is how are they missing. He hit the upright again, so it's not like he's way off and completely missing him. But obviously we need to do better.
Sharice Wright said after the game that Thomas Weber's miss, he thinks, was because you guys were getting so much penetration up front that he had to pull it. Otherwise, that field goal was going to be blocked at the end. This whole game just seemed to be about special teams. Was it a culmination of all the work that you guys have put in on that unit?
Yeah, really. To see it pay off all the way back to spring ball. We dedicated more time to special teams than any of our staff who'd been anywhere else had ever been around. And so to see it pay off again, so many times this year it has. And as we said from the first day, with these sanctions and reduced roster, we're already under, well under our limit. We're going to need to play great special teams, down the stretch of, whatever it is, 3-4 years until we can get the roster back to full strength. And obviously we still want to play well at that time, but it's going to be very critical. We're going to need it.
Did you see that on that play? Do you think that's why Weber pulled the kick?
Oh, I don't know that. I'm sure having an extra point blocked before that, starts to do things to you as a kicker in your head. So whatever it was, I'm happy.
After the game, used the Arizona 2001 example, which really galvanized the team in Pete Carroll's first year. Do you think your squad has that kind of run in them over the next 4 games, that ability?
Oh, I don't know that. It obviously would be pretty neat to finish off the season that way, but we got to take one game at a time. And also this conference is a lot stronger than it was back then. You feel like every week, you get through a game, you go to the next week and put the film on, and the team looks great. And so these guys are, Arizona's about in top 25 about every category there is on offense and defense.
Yeah, and it's a great quarterback league. You're going to see another one. Nick Foles looks like he's healthy, played the entire game against Stanford. How do you scout him? What's the report?
Yeah, unbelievable accuracy. His completion percentage was a little down last week versus Stanford, but here's a guy that almost every game it feels like as you watch he's completing 75% of his passes.
They changed offensive coordinators, I believe, in the offseason, right? Sonny Dykes left. Are they running similar Texas Tech type stuff, or have they changed a little bit their identity?
They still spread you out, and so they're still going to really stress you with a great passing game. And I believe they're first in the conference in passing. They really can get the ball down the field.
Jaron Kriner's their top target, but he's a little bit banged up, questionable for the game on Saturday. Does the game plan change if he plays or not? Do you just prepare as if he's going to play?
It's about us. When we're doing well on defense, it's because we're doing things right. And we showed it for a stretch there. As you go back to the Arizona State game, we give up the first touchdown. And then I believe we go 8 possessions with 7 punts, or 7 possessions with 6 straight punts and then an interception for a touchdown. So that's championship defense. We just got to do it for a full game now.
Keola Antolin, they're back just 5'8". Does he give you a preview of what you're probably going to see in 2 weeks with Quiz Rogers? Is that the type he is?
Yeah, we're going to play some really explosive offenses that are really well coached and really tough running backs, because you lose them back there behind the line. So we're going to have our hands full.
Do you think those backs pose more problems for whatever reason they have, I guess, in the recent history, or power backs tougher, you think?
Well, those guys are more problems in college football. You've seen that, all around the country for years now, because people spread out. They get in these spread offenses, they get all this room and get these little backs with you in a lot of space, and so they cause a lot of problems.
Arizona had just one loss going into last week, but Stanford dominated them. What have you seen that the Cardinal did so well?
Boy, Stanford just played lights out, really played extremely physical, both sides of the ball. It was just a really complete game by Stanford, against a very, very good Arizona team.
What is typical of a Mike Stoops coach defense?
Yeah, they're going to be very aggressive. They're going to be great pass rushers, very physical, and then they're going to come from all over the place.
As even younger coaches, you guys schemed against each other a little bit back in 2005 when he was at Oklahoma national championship game. Has he changed a lot since then when you look at the tape now?
There's still carryover, in the coverages especially, but he's done a great job there. Going into that game last week, at whatever they were 7-1 and one of the best teams in the country. And you look at it statistically, both sides of the ball. He's always been a defensive guy, but now they got the offense rolling too.
Night game in the desert, does their environment pose any unique challenges or just a road game?
It's a loud stadium. We've been there before. Last time we were here, and their student section's really loud, and they get going, and it's SC, and so wherever we go, it seems to be their largest crowd, and they seem to be really excited.
Lastly, an important one. Right before the game, you made a huge change. No visor this past week. Was that a strategic reason behind it? What can we expect going forward wardrobe-wise?
You're the only one who noticed that.
I don't think I was.
Well, you're the only one who brought it to my attention. I forgot about it. I don't know. We had lost 3 of 4, so we needed to change something.
Now you've won. You on a no visor streak?
I don't know. It was cold though. I had a winter jacket on. I know that much. So we're going to the desert. Hopefully it'll be warmer.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.